Hey, good morning, everyone. At least it's morning here in Malaysia. Who do we have here in the chat room? We got, hey, Planet Doug is here. So Doug says that's the way to do it. Not live stream for 2 days and leave your audience hungry for more. I'm trying to also not saturate. I think there's a point where you could be overly saturated, and if I'm staying in the same hostel, you know, then it's kind of the same background. Where if I'm changing camps, and I don't know how you guys feel this. I think the camps are interesting, so it's kind of cool to see. That's what I started kind of doing the live streams for, so you guys could see each new spot I'm actually camping without having to wait for the video. But if I'm kind of just like in the hostel, I figured I could probably call it in sick, call it in. But but that's just my opinion. I really don't want to try and oversaturate it. Live streams are not that hard at all because after you're done with them, you're done with them. There's no editing. There's nothing. It's just YouTube starts processing it right there. So the live streams are not a burden whatsoever. Hey Matt, how you doing, my brother? It's nice to always see you around. You are a great addition to the family over here, or the group over here. Yeah, the more active a person stays in the chats and stuff, the more I'm most likely going to be talking about you. Just because this really isn't a channel without everybody else, and I like to try and, I'm trying to be as personal as possible. Like when I talk to the camera, I'm acting like I'm talking directly to you. So sometimes I forget that you guys aren't watching this for a day or so. So timeline's a little messed up in my head usually. Yeah, like a space monkey. NASA gave me my job back because the monkey quit. I'm the second choice. So, wonder what the green object is behind you. Like a cooler. It is a cooler. Fishermen have these coolers all the time. So before I forget, where am I at? I am on Tuluk, Ketapang Beach. Tuluk Ketapang Beach. If you look it up, I'm actually right. This is where the bend, so it follows the beach north of the city, Terengganu. I'm still in Terengganu. I'm over the bridge now, going north along the beach. And this is right before the beach hits the backside of this small airport here, and it wraps around it and continues on. And this whole area is all just like beautiful camping area. This is where I originally was gonna go. Hang on a second, guys. Forgot I had this thing running. I'm trying to break down the third wall. No, the fourth wall. The fourth wall being like on TV, you only see 3 walls and everybody just naturally assumes there's a fourth wall when actually the fourth wall is the audience. And so by doing something like filming me film the live stream, which that's what I was just doing, it kind of breaks down that fourth wall, exposes it, and so you can kind of see more or less what it's like to be traveling around and filming. I'm trying to figure out ways to actually document the documentation a little more. So that'll be cut into the video later and stuff like that. So that's what me and Doug were talking about the other day, that it's kind of interesting following around a different creator and stuff, and seeing how they work and stuff. I would love to do that. I just don't know any other creators. I've seen 1 or 2 like in my whole lifetime. I think over in Spain when I was on the Camino. But you never know if they're a creator or if they're just filming. A lot of people just film with their cameras, with their camera phones. So yeah, that's a cooler. I don't know if it's a fish cooler or if it's for like, there's a lot of food vendors around here. Hey CS, how you doing? I did the Turtle Beach the other day. I put up the video already, so just so you know, I gave you credit for telling me, reminding me to check it out. No, I can't. Okay, so CS wants to know. It says, just got off watching your latest. Don't you have all the episodes saved on external HD or portable SSD? So I got a T7, a Samsung T7 Shield. That's the more supposed to be the more rugged external drive, and it's a terabyte. So I filled up that terabyte with not even so that terabyte was filled within 20 episodes. I mean, so that's not even one whole what I call each place that I go, like each country, I'm just calling a season. So if you guys aren't familiar why I have it seasons and episodes, it's just because the seasons are the countries. So season 1 was Vietnam, season 2 was Cambodia, season 3 was Thailand, and season 4 is Malaysia. And then episodes are the videos within that timeline. So if two days get stuck together, like day 5 and 6, because let's say day 5 was I was 6, so I just kind of stitched it onto day 6, then that'll still fall under one episode. So that's how not to confuse anybody, it's just that sounded like a good idea. Someone mentioned it. It might have been Doug talking about how someone else numbers their videos, and it sounded like a good idea, so I took it up. So no, it is physically impossible for me because it's 30, each video is between 20 and 30 gigs. So if you want to know how many gigs, how many gigs are in each video, there's 1 gig for every 2 minutes that are filmed in 4K. So if it's an hour video, then it's 30 gigs. If it's 40 minutes long, then it's 20 gigs. A half an hour is 15 gigs. So that can fill up 1,000 gigs, no problem. It's like 1,000 gigs being a terabyte, no problem. That's nothing. That's a little over, let's see, 30, let's say 30 hours. Actually, it would be a total of 2,000 minutes. Anyway, it's too early. I'm still drinking my coffee. But yeah, so if you want to figure it out, so I would need such a big storage space, and even if I was paying for it, the amount that I would actually have to pay for, I would have to ask, I could easily fill up a 5 terabyte storage space with just the first 2 episodes, So I started to do that, CS. Yes, I started doing it. That's why I got the T7 drive, but I didn't realize how fast. I guess I could have just done a little math and realized that, there was no way possible. And there's another thing. So when I decided to dispute the videos, the copyright or whatever on the videos, I did re-download them back from YouTube. So you have the option of putting it back on your device, but what happens, it gets shrunk. So YouTube has the original, let's say 20 or 30 gig video, right, in 4K, but when you get it back from them, it's like 500 megabytes. So it's like no longer 4K, it's low quality. It's not super bad, but I think that's 720 or something p. I did that with the videos that were on my old video, American Hobo Unleashed, where it was just showing kind of like how I went from Hawaii to Tennessee and lived in that field for 3 years. That was just give everybody a backstory that I'm a legitimate person, a legitimate homeless person, and I'm not just making this up. And also, where I basically got my money to do all this, to travel, is that I worked during that time. And I do get a little bit of an income, but the main thing is that birds, that nest, that having that to fall back on if I need to. Anyway, so so yeah, I tried that CS. It just, I would have to carry around so many hard drives, and it would be so expensive that what I need to do is just be very, very careful not to upset the, mother YouTube or whatever. And honestly, I have had no problems with YouTube. It's like they're just doing their job. So, and I like the tools that they've been offering. And I think that offering 55% of revenue is very fair. They give you all the options of earning other ways and stuff, because the more you earn, the more they're going to earn. So I like their platforms. I think it's a legit platform. And I don't have any complaints about it, but they have to keep their, even like the spot that gave me so the company that lifted let my video day 9 come back, and also I have the strike removed. From what I understand, I have to go back and actually check to make sure it's removed, because I was watching a video and someone advised that you still have to do one more thing. Even though the strike's removed, there's something else. I can't remember what that was, but I'll look into it. I'm pretty sure I remember which video it was on. But I wrote them a thank you note because I thought it was something they didn't have to do. They could have just said, yeah, gave me the finger and said, no, too late now. But they gave me a 7-day window to drop the appeal, which would mean that they would still continue on getting my pennies, from that one video. Like I said, it would have just been pennies anyway. But I missed that opportunity because I don't check my email every day. And they gave me that 7-day window to, drop the appeal, and I didn't do it, so they put in the removal request. And they didn't want me to get the strike. That's because they actually wrote me back once I said, hey, thank you so much. I'm still learning as a young creator, not a young creator, you know what I'm saying, a new creator, a new old creator. But they wrote me back, which I thought was very nice. And they said, hey, we didn't mean for you to get a strike or anything. It's just we had to take this next step because it escalated to this point, and so the person I was dealing with wrote back to the company and asked them if they would drop it, and the label company said, yeah, no problem, go ahead. And so I thought that was really cool of them. So I gave them a very small mention, but I didn't want to overdo the mention because there could be a reason that they might, I don't want to get another copyright strike for mentioning a name. I don't know how that works yet, So, but I do appreciate it, and that was actually, now I know, I do know the process it can go through. And as a last resort, or even, just get a hold of the company, and just tell them that you're a small creator, because they're usually not, I think your problem's going to come from the bigger companies like Paramount, MGM, stuff like this, when you start using obviously copyrighted stuff. But anyway, I'm sorry, that's kind of a blab, guys. Let me see everything. Hey, Flea, how you doing, my brother? Good morning. Will you be camping tonight? Yes. Are you going to stay another night at the hostel? No, I'm right here. I wanted to go check out, but I was going to camp the last 2 nights at Hammock Park, and I kind of missed out because the weather was perfect. And now at like 1 or 2 o'clock, Lee, you'll know that it's weather should be hitting us. And then the rest of this week looks like we got some weather, but I just, I'll cycle between the raindrops, I can swerve out of the way. But I got to get wet. It's monsoon's coming up. So the way you are collecting gigabytes of videos, you will need a 20 terabyte hard drive, but those are 3.5 inch external drives that are expensive, and you need to plug them in to a power socket. Yeah, I remember back in the days when the 3.5 inch external drives were the 500 gigs. I had a 500 gig, but I remember when the terabytes first came out, and they were the external hard drives. And the solid state came out a little later. Let's see. But no, I have somewhat of a knowledge just because I used to like computers, and I used to do a lot of it, but it was back in the days, I used to do HTML5 and make web pages too. But I was cheating on the JavaScript. I was copying and paste almost all the JavaScript and I didn't actually get into the learning process of the JavaScript. So most of mine were just HTML5 with JavaScript that I was just copy and paste from other spots. But always compress videos, even if you use a capture to okay, YouTube always compresses videos, even if you used a capture card to capture the video while watching it. The video you are watching is already compressed. Yeah, yeah. No, they talk about that. They need to compress it to a certain degree just to be able to show it. And yeah. Okay, that was a close call. May have to be extremely extra careful not to get a strike again. Yes, that's what I'm doing. Is like, so I took this route, even though it was a scary route because it was part of my learning process. And the thing is you're gonna mess up in your learning processes, and you're gonna learn what not to do sometimes. And the fact is I learned kind of what agitating the bear can happen, especially when the talk of Lee and Doug was saying, hey, it's just like, it's an old video. How many people actually watch it? No one. Honestly, I think that video's got topped out at like maybe 300 views, 200 views. No, my early stuff, didn't get, I still don't have a high viewership. Honestly, I don't. If you look at, the fluke was when I went to KL. That was because people from KL were watching my videos, But then once I get farther out of KL, I only get a few of those people that stay with me, but the majority is like, well, he's out of KL. And the same way with Vietnam. When I was in Vietnam, only really people from Vietnam watched my Vietnam videos. And then Cambodia, I didn't even have enough time in Cambodia to build up a viewership. So it seems that most of the people are only interested in their location. That's where the Malaysian bump comes from. A Malaysian bump was something Doug from Planet Doug told me, that when you get to Malaysia, usually your viewership increases and your subscribers increase, and he was right, it did, and especially me being on the west side, which was the busier side. But what's funny is on the east side, I'm actually getting to meet some of these people. So I actually had one person track me down. They're on the thumbnail of one of my videos. Over in Kydril and or Kidjol or whatever. They came by, and when they were walking by me, I was set up in one of the pagodas with my hammock. They're like, Daniel, and I was like, if they would have said American Hobo, I would have been, oh, someone that watches me. So I'm like, I'm gonna get arrested. No, but you know what I'm saying. I'm like, how do you know? Do I know you? You're not my real father, are you? No, but they were very kind. They didn't want to be on YouTube. I asked, and they're like, no. They're like, we don't mind a picture. So that's why they're on the thumbnail. But they didn't. But we talked for a while, and they were really cool people. And yeah, he's like, I watch all your videos. He goes, I like watching your videos and stuff. And his wife was like, yeah, he watches. So I got a kick out of that. And another person actually knew who I was over in, I can't remember. I put him on one of the covers too, on one of the thumbnails. But it's cool to actually meet people. Let's see. I would, even after this, try to re-edit the video without the offensive music if possible, if you don't have the originals. Okay, so CS, the problem was, so CS was talking about editing out the music. So the whole scene, so like in my earlier videos, when I first started going to the like temples, actually they do call their temples their pagodas. I shouldn't call these pagodas because over there they do call them, I think, pagodas, the smaller temples and stuff. So at first the newness was still there, so I thought they were beautiful, and I'd film them and I'd put the music in, which was copyright free music, or at least that's what they were being advertised on. The spots like Audio Library. There's other ones like Bin Sound. My app itself, which is UCut, has a music section that's all supposed to be copyright-free music, and you can just use it right out of the app. It has its own music. So I was using it out of the app, and certain companies like Ben Sound, like that you can get on that are well-known, well-established. But the fact is that's music that YouTube doesn't have in their library as copyright-free. So YouTube has their library, which they have their own audio library. If it doesn't recognize as one of those, and it has, it might recognize mine as copyright music. So I would do the whole scene through, like trying being as artistic as possible. This is just like what I was doing at the time, and trying to do like proper camera angles, pulling back and all this, and setting it to the like music which I like. So all the music that I've used comes from a copyright-free source. Even the one that's was in question, I originally got it from a copyright-free, or most likely this is what happened, is I got it from royalty-free. That means it's copyrighted music, but small producers can use it as long as you put the proper credits in. If so, you got to put the proper credits in. So what I think with that song, what happened was I got it off originally from Audio Library Plus. You can look them up on YouTube, but they're not affiliated with YouTube, although I thought they were at the time because I heard YouTube had Audio Library, and that's where you get your music from. And when I Googled Audio Library, that's what I got, and with the YouTube link. So I was like, oh, this must be it, right? But it wasn't. Doug pointed that out later, that most likely they aren't affiliated, and where you actually find the audio library is not on the app. It's on the actual studio, not the YouTube Studio app, but the YouTube Studio webpage. And then I found it, and I was like, no wonder all this music keeps coming up that they don't recognize it. It's not from their source. So what I think happened with that one song is that it's a royalty-free music, right? And what was being offered at one time on Audio Library Plus, the reason why they have Audio Library and Audio Library Plus is the plus means you got to do an extra step. So that extra step is usually you have to not only cut, copy, and paste whatever credit, but you have to go to their the artist's either Spotify or I usually go to the Spotify, but they also or SoundCloud or something like that, and subscribe to them as a listener. It doesn't cost you anything. You go click subscribe. Now you're allowed, once you hit the subscription button, now you're allowed to download it, and as long as you put the link. So I noticed I had the link to the Spotify with the artist, with their account. So I'm like, it had to come from Audio Library Plus. So that was all kind of like within the explanation. I read the letter, right? But like I said, that was 5 months ago, so I can't say for sure that's how it was. And I think the artist just decided to take it and to remove it off the free platform and put it where he could get paid, like on Icons 8. Now, Icons 8 is still royalty free and stuff, but you have to pay either $9 for the song, just for an individual one, or you get like $15 a month. You get up to like, I don't know, so many songs that you can download every month. And so I think he just switched over to a paid platform, and I wasn't recognized until I explained, maybe. But this is all hearsay. I don't know, not hearsay. This is just my assumptions about it. But it was, originally I did get it. It wasn't like I got the music and I recorded it off the radio or something. This was what I thought was legitimate, and most likely it was legitimate at the time. It just, even if something is copyright free, it doesn't stop an artist from later on. I'm not saying this because what this guy did, but it has been known to happen in the past, where they can take that copyright free music and sell it. And now it's no longer copyright free. And later on you could get in trouble for it, or at least have to try and explain why, at the time. So I think it was just, so I am very thankful that they dropped it. I don't know how much of I told them what I think happened, but like I said 5 months ago, I'm not positive. The only other spot it could have came from would have been the UCut app, because the UCut app, but since it had the Spotify link, I'm almost positive it was from Audio Library Plus. So anyway, that's the explanation. Sorry about the long explanation there, but I hope that answered your question, CS. There we go. Let's see. You are being fenced in with yellow tape. That's probably the dead body. They don't want anybody tripping over the dead bodies I leave in my wake. Never mind. Yeah, you're right. I'm getting fenced in with the yellow tape. They're probably getting ready to set up. They were doing it down there too. They're probably so people don't park there. That way they can set up a market or something. I don't know. So the Malaysian bump is because of the. I believe the Malaysian bump is because of all the countries you have been. Malaysia has higher English, and your video is in English. Yeah. Well, some call it English. I don't know. Some people don't think it's. I don't. Some people don't think I speak proper English, though. Yeah, maybe that could be it. Yeah, I think that has some legitimacy to it there, CS, because the Malaysians understand English, so more of them are able to watch my videos. Yeah, I wouldn't. That sounds pretty legit. No, there's something else I heard. Now I was watching. There's misinformation on your channel, on people telling you, oh, you need to do this, need to do that. Someone told me a video I was watching on. My problem is I don't think the algorithm actually even knows where to even put my videos. But that's all right. You know, I have a steady amount of growth, very, very slow but steady amount of growth in my subscribers and stuff, and that's good. But my channel has never really taken off. It did for like 2 weeks. Like the algorithm found a niche, and in 1 week I got over 600 subscribers and stuff like that. And then my viewer count went up from maybe 60 or 7 views to like 150, 200. And but then after that it tapered off, and I just kind of stayed at like 200, 300 views. And then when I hit Malaysia, I had that little Malaysian bump for a little while where I actually was breaking over 1,000. But then since then it's declined back down to about 600, 700. But after it does creep up, after it's been sitting for a while, it does eventually creep up to 1,000. But it's nothing like crazy, like Let's Go Cycling. We both started the channel at the same time, and he hit 10,000 subscribers like that. And you see the same thing with homeless Kiwi. Well, actually, homeless Kiwi in London is like killing it faster than anybody I've ever seen. Like he's yeah, that's ridiculous. Like his videos go up, and within 16 hours, so not in a full day, he's already got 6,000 views. I'm like, I got to turn him off. You know, so, and it's funny because he's trying to do stuff, like I noticed he's trying to do thumbnails and stuff, but he doesn't really need to do any of that. Because he got popular without the thumbnails, without the titles, without the fancy editing or anything like that. But you know, I think he wants to learn this, just like, you know, I think that's the main thing is like I want to learn all the in and outs of YouTube, so I think he wants the same. So, you know, let him do what he wants. You know, I salute it, but he definitely doesn't need to, honestly. You know, like I noticed, I'm not sure if he allowed someone else to take over, because when you first start your channel, there's a lot of people jump forward and say, hey, I'll run your channel for you to do all the you know, titles and thumbnails and stuff, because I noticed his new thumbnails are like got AI generated thumbnails, which I don't really think he needs, because he's got a magical formula, and I wouldn't take the chance. But then again, if he's just trying to learn all this, I salute him. Anyway, that's just me. That's why I'm so interested in him, because he's showing how it just like if he just hit the algorithm just right and got shown to the right, he did something. There was like a nice little where it just kicked him off, and it just shows the simplicity. You don't need all the complication. You don't need the complication of thumbnails. You don't need the complication of all this. The titles. You don't need all these complications. He kept it really simple, and it just hit the algorithm at the right, like just perfect time, and got sent out to the right people. Yeah. So I think that's awesome. But and he was also wondering, is like, okay, what do I do when my growth hits so much where I'm making money? He's like, then I'll no longer be a homeless person, right? And then he kind of loses the whole reason of his channel. That's easy. Just don't spend it. If you can't get rich if you don't spend the money. You know what I'm saying? So all that money and any money you're making from YouTube, just have it pay it into like a PayPal account or something, right? And yeah, I know a lot of you are like, hey, not into a PayPal account. They're linked. That's the reason why. Is AdSense is linked to the way that they pay you is a PayPal account that you can actually just easily link up if you already have one. Then just let it build up, and then when you're ready to retire, pull it out. You don't have to spend the money. Just let it build up. And as long as you're not making money, you're not improving your. If you're not spending money, you're not improving your situation. You'll still be homeless. But that's if you're really afraid of it. Okay, guys. I think the English effect is diminishing by the day because the AI translate and auto dub. That's what that YouTube uses these days. So you can watch videos in any language translated to your language. Yeah, and that's what I was getting ready to say, but I got sidetracked in my brain. Lee, someone says you should turn off the auto dub because she says that when auto dub came out, which was a while back, it's naturally turned on now for everyone. And what it happens is instead of being your video just being advertised alongside other like-minded videos, right, within your same niche, right, it's being randomly shown in foreign countries and stuff like this. So you might have your video right next to a video that's in Chinese and another one that's in Spanish, and they're just more randomly showing your video because now auto dub's on. So if you turn auto dub off, then it'll only be shown more to the English speaking people, and you'll go back to being your video being shown in more of a properly placed area. Now I don't think that's with mine. Honestly, because I've always had low viewership, so I'm never kicked off. So I don't think turning auto dub off would help me at all. But that's what they said they experienced because they're talking about they have their views up around 30K and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like all of a sudden their viewings went down to 2-3K, and they thought it was just the content that they were creating, but it stayed that way. And they eventually looked back and they noticed other people were having the same problems that had high viewership. So what they did was they realized that their videos were being shown randomly with random ones next to it. So when they turned it off, their viewership went back up. Now, how much of that is true? I don't know. Honestly, it didn't come from vidIQ or Think Media, or there's some other ones, Dan the Creator and different things like this that I trust. Then I kind of take it with that they're just guessing. But that what I'm saying is they're not probably putting solid numbers behind it, where vidIQ will put solid numbers behind everything. vidIQ has an awesome little You can try it for free, the thumbnail makers and all this stuff, but they have a pretty awesome software setup, and there's AI is pretty good at drawing and stuff because it knows what like nothing can be put down in the bottom right hand corner because that's where the timestamp for YouTube puts their like time marker. It also knows the text needs to have that color code, like yellow goes with blue or white and red, and different ones to make the titles to stand out better. And so vidIQ is not bad. So I trust them more than I would just a random creator, even if they have a high subscription. But anyway, let's see, what am I missing here? Bing, what's up, brother? So anyway, I heard the auto dub could affect your viewing. If we agreed the internet bump is like fire starters, viewership is holding on to the viewers' interest. Yeah, I agree that the initial bump is like a fire starter. Your prolonged viewership is going to be the fact is if you're interested or not. Yeah. Main character from Squid Game, he won $38 million. He refused to spend it and was essentially homeless for a long time. Incredibly wealthy, but had no money. Yeah, I kind of missed the last Squid Games just because, I was getting it off of Popcorn Time. I'm not sure if you guys know what Popcorn Time is, but it's one of those illegal watch as many movies as you want. I come from the era of Pirates Bay and Supernova, where we used to pirate all. Like we used to get we used to download and burn our music, our movies and stuff like that. Stuff like Popcorn Time is not. BTV seems to be getting shut down all the time. There's Morpheus Television, which was Cody. Anyway. So Popcorn Time's still legit. I don't know why. So if you want to watch as many free movies as you want, look for the APK of Popcorn Time. But Squid Games that's how I watched it, and then somehow I got removed from Squid Games, got removed from Popcorn Time. Oh, obviously the reason why is it's pirated. Pirated. The reason why they can stick around is because they're just search engines. The Popcorn Time, and that's where like Napster lost it. They were actually holding on to the music onto their drives, right, onto their servers and stuff. So they got busted that way. But if you go to just being a search engine looking for the torrent files, right, then it's legitimate, and they can try and shut you down. And you're like, I'm just a search engine. You got to go out and tear down these mirrors that have it on. Mirrors being where you actually put the file itself, so you don't get in trouble. But the servers, don't have your. So anyway, that's why Napster got in trouble. And then like LimeWire and all these, and Fox, FrostWire and all these, later on were just search engines. So I didn't actually fully watch the last Squid Games. I do want one of those jumpsuits though. I really do. One of the green ones. I think the population is greater in Europe, and more people wanting to know how to live cheaply in London or in Malaysia. For me, at least, I am interested in the way you live, the places you go. Yes, thank you, Bing. Yeah, it says that's a good point. He says I think the population is greater in Europe, and more people wanting to know how to live cheaply in London. Whereas in Malaysia, for me at least, I'm interested in the way you live, the places you go. That's true. I didn't think about that because London is still really expensive, and I think the homeless population is starting to get a nice increase over there in England, and I didn't really think about that. And the population is big, so he probably has a fair amount, and also he's going to get a lot of the American viewership because his videos are very short, and because Americans are so uneducated. No, no, but I'm just joking. But no, the attention span is shorter, and he's showing stuff like tarp setups and stuff, and that interests a lot of woodsmen and stuff. And we pride ourselves on being woodsmen and stuff like that, and being able to camp and stuff. So stuff like knots and how knots are tied, and tarp setups, and just living more of the bushcraft life is very interesting in America too. So I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty strong American hold too. But you're right. I never thought about just the population being so great there and it being of interest to them. So thank you. Yeah, thank you, Bing. To live old memories, places I had been. Need more money in old age. Medical bills will escalate, but they should invest the money to protect against inflation. There's another thing. So, Flea, you mentioned something about Doug. Yes, it'll. You will need more money in old age. I'm assuming you're talking about Doug and not me. No, but medical bills will escalate, but they should invest the money to protect against inflation. So. Something about living homeless and stuff and medical bills I like to mention. You don't go to the doctor. One is even if you do have like Medi-Cal or something like that in the United States, or you just don't go to the doctors. You go to the emergency room, but you don't go to the doctors because one is your traveler and you don't have a what's they call like a steady doctor that you go to see all the time. So regardless, when you do go in, you're going to be paying more out of pocket. If you're homeless, they usually just waive the bill. But you don't go unless you really, really, really have to. So in the old age, it's pretty well the same way. Like when I broke my foot, when I broke my foot in the rain and in the dark, I dragged myself up the hill into my tent with a broken foot and crawling. Well, using my bicycle as a crutch. And once I got in the tent, I didn't realize how am I going to get back out. And this is a story I've talked about before. Luckily, someone from the congregation I was going to, the Messianic congregation, they came out and looked for me, and they found me, and they brought me water and stuff like this. But the fact is I being the rough and tumble type of person, you don't go to the hospital. And when you do, it's usually the emergency room. You don't go to the hospital unless it's like a broken bone or something. So homeless people have a danger of actually dying from something like the flu and stuff a lot greater because they usually won't go in to get medication. But then again, I just wanted to mention that because you brought up medical, and I wasn't sure if you guys knew that is even in my older age, I'm not going to go to the hospital unless I break a bone. Or I get maybe, I don't know, MRSA again or something, That's another thing too. Staph infection can kill you. So I don't have any idea how that's going to work outside of the America. So, and I don't have travel insurance. I don't. Unless it's going to be required that I need travel insurance to enter the country, I'm never going to get travel insurance just because I don't pay for those things. And I know someone's going to scream, but the thing is get over it. This is how homeless people live. They don't do the medical thing because they can't afford it usually. Even when it's free, they can't afford free. No, it's stubbornness. A lot of it's stubbornness. They actually go in and, just because usually doctors mean money. But if you guys didn't know that, that's a very common thing amongst homeless people is we just, unless we're dying. My experience, Malaysians in general are not that interested in a low-budget backpacking style. People in Canada, U.S. admire that. Malays are often puzzled, why not stay in a nicer hotel? Yeah, I agree. Doug, I agree. I know a lot of people like, why don't you just stay, like when I was camping over uh, during the Lantern Festival in Sheraton, they're like, why are you camping? Why don't you go to like when there's lots of cheap hostels? But the thing is uh, it depends on what you consider cheap. I don't consider 80 ringgit cheap. And like even the campground was 60 ringgit for one person. So, me, it has to be 40 ringgit or less. And those are almost nowhere in Malaysia. I mean, very few of them. So, I think it depends on if you work a job, then yeah, 80 ringgit's cheap. But when you don't work a job, 80 ringgit's expensive. And so, um, plus camping's kind of like in my blood. It's my lifestyle. So, I like camping. Um, Plus, if you think about it, 80 ringgit can buy 8 meals. 8 meals. That's living fat for a few days. So I'm just saying, one night at an 80 ringgit hostel can last you 4 days worth of food. But okay, guys. I'm already up to 50 minutes. I was supposed to keep this a lot shorter. All right, guys. So if you can tell, I'm on the road again. I'll be camping tonight. I got up early. Started pushing out. I didn't make much time because I kind of wanted to film the Hammock Park. This whole area was where I was going to camp behind me, a little down that way. This whole area looks very nice for camping. Get ready to go around the airport right now, but we're all caught up on videos. Everything turned out okay on my video being taken down, reissued. Thank you for their very nice, to do that. Yeah, I'm just gonna see how far I can push today, and we're completely current on the videos. And yeah, sorry about the not doing a live stream the last few days, but I'll probably get back in the habit of doing daily as long as I'm moving. Okay, CS used to stay in the YMCA youth hostel. Yeah, I never took advantage of the YMCA, but they're very, youth hostel. But YMCA in the United States was very big for gym membership, showers and stuff like that. So you get a gym membership and you take a shower. But right now, like Planet Fitness is the big one because for $10 a month, you can get the membership and you can use their showers. Just go in, work out for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then hit the showers. Don't make it obvious that you're just there to actually use the showers. But $10 a month is really worth the showers in the United States, especially when it's winter time and stuff. It's I mean, if you want to go in and work out, $10. But I know a lot of homeless people are using that within the United States. At least they were when I was there. Honestly, it's a great deal, because if you go to a truck stop and try and get a shower, well, the thing is in truck stops is you go to where the truckers walk in and you say, hey, do you have an extra shower you don't mind giving me? And they usually always have like about 10 of them built up. Every single time they fill up their tank, they get a free shower. They're not going to use it. They only use one a day, right? So if you stand there and say, hey, you got a free shower you don't want? They go, yeah, no problem. They go into the machine. They put in their number, right? And it prints out. And they're like, here you go. They'll hand you the receipt. And then you just wait until your number comes up on the board. And you get a nice big old shower room all to yourself, right? It's got a lock and stuff. And it's got the toilet. It's got this clean shower. And if it's a spot like mine, I pride myself on keeping them really clean, like super clean. Some of them are a little dirty because that's depending on who's cleaning the showers. So if you guys are ever traveling in the United States and you need like a free shower, the truckers don't mind giving them away because at the end of the month they lose them all anyway. And I've asked them before and they go, no, we like giving them away. Because that way we feel like we're, giving you something when we're actually not giving you anything. So yeah, don't ever hesitate to ask a trucker for it. And it'll only take up to, if one of them's like in a hurry or something, he might say sorry. But it only takes like by the second person that you ask, they'll usually have it. Okay, guys. Well, there's a little tip for you, a homeless tip. I'm not. All right, Matt, you take it easy. I'm not an old so I just look for low-cost hotels that have a good bed and are clean. But five-star hotels don't appeal to me. Um, yeah, there's another thing, Doug. Um, I don't know if, like I mentioned before, someone had their app on their Agoda app. They set their place of establishment. Like mine's actually, anytime I book through Agoda, it comes up that I'm Taiwanese, just because I downloaded the app in Thailand. So I think if you get a new SIM card, you could upload a new version of Agoda and put in a Malaysia. And I know one person I met that's how he avoids the tax. But the thing is they'll still ask you for your Malaysian ID, and if you don't have your Malaysian ID, then they're going to charge you the tax. I don't. But he's getting away with it. Now I'm not going to worry about it. It's only like $2.50, $3, so I'm not too worried. All right, guys. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. I'm back on the road, and I'll be camping tonight. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Uh, yeah, and this road's closing by. Yeah, I'm almost to the point where I'm going to cross through the mountain valleys and try and avoid the elephants here pretty soon. All right, guys. Peace out. Bye.